Number 3, question number 3. Sulfur forms two chlorides P and Q. Chloride P has the formula S2Cl2. Chloride Q has the formula SCl2. Number A. Both chlorides are covalently bonded and have low melting point. Low melting point suggests in terms of attraction between particles why these chlorides have low melting point. So there are weak attraction between molecules. There are weak van der Waals force between molecules. As both have low melting point, this means there are weak attraction between molecules. So less energy is needed to overcome this attraction. B. Chloride P S2Cl2 forms when sulfur reacts with chlorine. Write the symbol equation for this reaction. Sulfur reacts with chlorine to S2Cl2. So 2 sulfur, I write here 2 sulfur atom left hand side, right hand side 2 sulfur, chlorine 2, equation is balanced. Number C, complete the dot and cross diagram for the molecule Q, sulfur dichloride. So sulfur, chlorine, sulfur group 6 SCl, sulfur forms 2 single bond, so gives 1 electron, 2 electron, and sulfur is a group 6 element, so remaining 4 electron in its outer shell. Chlorine is a group 7, so chlorine gives 1 electron in bonding and remaining 6 electron in its outer shell. So show the outer electron shell only, so remaining 6 outer shell. Here 2, 4, 6. This is the dot and cross diagram for sulfur chloride. Number D. Chloride P is converted to Q by reaction with chlorine in a closed system. The reversible reaction reaches an equilibrium. The forward reaction is exothermic reaction, means delta H value is negative forward reaction. Energy, heat is produced. So you are asking, suggest two changes to the condition which will result in a decrease in the concentration of chlorine Q at equilibrium. Two conditions that will decrease the concentration of chloride. So at Q concentration decreases. So number 1, decrease in concentration of S2Cl2. So if you decrease the concentration of S2Cl2, position of equilibrium will move from right to left, so Q will decreases. Or you can write decrease in concentration of chlorine. If you decrease chlorine concentration, equilibrium will move from right to left, so Q will be decreases. This number 1 changes will be decrease in concentration of S2Cl2, or you can write decrease in concentration of P or Cl2. Number 2, increase in temperature. As this reaction is exothermic, so if you increase in temperature, equilibrium will move from right to left, so Q will decreases. These two conditions will decrease the Q, I mean sulfur dichloride. Number E1, define the term activation energy. You know, the minimum energy that colliding particle must have. The minimum amount of energy that must have among colliding particles, colliding molecules. This is known as activation energy. The minimum energy that colliding particles must have. This is known as activation energy. And number 2, give the symbol for activation energy. Activation energy symbol is EA. This means activation energy or energy of activation. Complete table 3.1 to show the effect, if any, when the condition are changed. Use only words increase, decrease, or no change. These 3 words you can use. Now, change to conditions, effect on the frequency of collision between particles, effect on frequency of collision between particles, and effect on proportion of collisions which have energy greater or equal to activation energy. This is the proportion of collision that have more energy greater than activation energy. So number 1, at first concentration of chlorine is increased. If concentration is increased, frequency of collisions increases, and this is no change or remain constant. Effect on the proportion of collisions that have more energy greater or equal than activation energy. So this only affect the temperature. Now temperature is increased, effect on the frequency of collisions between particles increases, and also more molecules have energy greater than activation energy. That means effect of the proportion of collisions which have energy greater or equal than activation energy also increases. And now a catalyst is added. A catalyst also increases the number of mole which have energy greater or equal than activation energy. So if you use catalyst, effect on the proportion of collisions which have greater or equal than activation energy will be increases. Now the reaction between P with chlorine is a redox reaction. So the oxidation number of chlorine in P and chloride in Q is -1. Use the oxidation number to explain. Sulfur is oxidized in the forward reaction. So here sulfur oxidation number of sulfur goes from +1 to +2. Here sulfur +1, 1 sulfur is +1, 2 sulfur +2, and chlorine -2, 2 chlorine. So 1 chlorine -1. Sulfur goes +1 to here sulfur +2. So oxidation number of sulfur increases. That's why sulfur is oxidized in the forward reaction, and chlorine is oxidized in the reverse reaction. And you see chlorine here -1, here 0, reverse reaction right to left. So oxidation number of chlorine goes from -1, this is -1 to 0. So oxidation number of chlorine increases. That's why reverse reaction chlorine is oxidized.